Do you sometimes feel like something is wrong with you when you have tried all the manifesting techniques and they end up working just a little bit and then sometimes not at all? Do you ever wonder why the law of attraction works for others but not you? Have you tried to manifest a certain amount of money and it didn't come your way? Most likely, you are in the cycle of stagnation. How would it feel to have more peace and tranquility in your body when it comes to abundance? How would it feel to be more at ease receiving financial abundance in your life? Bet it would feel more free and safe, right? Energetically, our bodies hold memories of past versions of ourselves when our relationship with money was just building up, meaning what you learned about money from your caretakers, your body and your mind absorbed as the absolute truth around how to handle financial situations. These patterns of behavior may be subtly present in your relationship with financial abundance and quite possibly be blocking you from receiving the money you desire. When we have stagnant, stuck, repressed, and gummed up energy, which is held up in our minds and body in the way of a belief system, even with the most potent mindset work out there, it will not allow our emotional bodies to be on board with a new way of thinking. In other words, if we are not working on the body level to heal repressed emotions and beliefs around our relationship with money and financial abundance, we will not be able to manifest the abundance we actually desire with ease. In my course, Dymystify Your Money Wounds, I'm opening up my teachings to 8 people who desire to heal their beliefs around money on a bodily level. Budgeting, creating spreadsheets, saving money, and even mindset work around abundance will only get you so far. It's the body and the nervous system that need to be on board with your relationship to abundance, and this is your opportunity to join me, Sarita, to help guide you to release those old stories and patterns so you can create and attract the abundance you desire. To join this program, head to saritawellness.com/healing to lock in your spot. We start on January 2nd. Now, on to the scheduled program.
Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well-being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started.
Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to another episode and back to this sacred space that I love calling my podcast time with you. I love that I get to spend this time with you on a every other week basis, chatting about all things that I'm passionate about when it comes to healing, mindset, self-love, manifestation, abundance, money, like so much more. And if you're new here, welcome, a warm welcome to you. And if you are a seasoned listener, thank you so much for your support and love and sharing this podcast. I just wanted to share some great news with you. Back to Here with Sarita has gotten over 1,000 downloads, and that is a warm thank you to you for being such a supporter and a listener and sharing this podcast with your friends. I really appreciate you. So at this moment, I'm actually in the LA area recording this episode, and it was really nice to get away from San Diego and do a little getaway weekend because I had a fun event that I attended, and I drove up here to stay with one of my friends in a timeshare who's actually also from San Diego and was attending another event, so it worked out perfectly that we were able to share this really nice space together for a nice long weekend. And being up in the LA area, I kind of forget sometimes how different LA can be from San Diego. And if you're not from California, you're probably thinking like LA, San Diego, like what's the difference? They're both in Southern California. How can there be that much of a difference between two cities? And in fact, there is quite a bit of difference, and people will say this to you that are from both areas will very much stand out how different LA is from San Diego and vice versa, even being just 2 hours apart. So anyways, I was up here for a really fun wellness, beauty, fashion, lifestyle, like entrepreneurial event that was held at the Beverly Hills Hotel. So it was like really fun. And if you follow me on social media at Sarita Wellness on Instagram, you would have seen the beautiful event and I shared, and also the really cute glittery dress that I wore that was actually a really big hit. I had a lot of people asking me where I bought it, and I did buy it in a really cute little boutique in Ocean Beach in the community where I live. So I had a really good time at this event. It was actually another event that this particular company put on that was very similar to the one that they had in San Diego back in September, where I attended and also had the opportunity to walk in the fashion show. So this time didn't get to do the fashion show, but this time I was a spectator for the fashion show, and that was still so much fun. Great event that I went to, and it was fun to kick off the holiday season. So anyways, that's a little update on me, and I wanted to share some thoughts that I have around expansion and possibility when it comes to our healing journey and manifesting our dream life. So this episode's actually going to be a little bit more on the short side because I am leaving room and energy for my final episode of the year. This is the second to last one. I cannot believe it. But my final episode of the year will be launching, or I should say dropping, in 2 weeks exactly. And at that time, I'll be sharing 10 lessons that I learned over this last year. So this episode will be just nice, short, and sweet as we talk about expansion and possibility. This episode feels like a good time to talk about this because we're at the end of the year, and December, I feel like, is kind of this overlap month for me in a way, meaning it's the final quarter of the year for a lot of businesses and companies that are pushing, trying to meet the end, financial goals, their fiscal year, and not to mention it's holiday season, which equates shopping, holiday events, parties, travel. And for some people, and for a lot of people, I should say, this equates a lot of stress and anxiety and just the desire for the year to be over already or the holidays to be over already. A lot of people just come into December really hoping to speed through the last 4 months of the year, not realizing that it's actually probably one of the best times of the year, and I will explain why. For some of us, we are already thinking about what we want to start and come up with for the new year when it comes to our New Year's resolutions, or maybe like goals that we want to, start working on for the new year. I find that December is the month when all this is happening. And not to mention, this is when I start reflecting on this past year and things that I've been through. So needless to say, there's a lot in this particular time period that is going on. And that's why I want to bring up both expansion and possibility to you. If you remember at the beginning of this year, I believe it was in episode 2, I shared with you my word for 2023, or one of my words, I should say, for 2023. And that word was, in fact, expansion. And when I heard that word, I thought, oh my gosh, it's a perfect word. If you have not listened to episode 2, go ahead and listen to it. I tell you a practice that I do every single year. Choose a word to embody for that year. So I fell in love with that word. Originally, when I considered the word expansion, I was thinking more of a balloon expanding and getting bigger. And what I didn't realize is that expansion isn't just this horizontal growth, but it also can mean a lot of depth and growth as well. And so in this episode, I'm going to share with you around expanding what is possible when it comes to trusting the process, trusting the universe, and trusting yourself. So let me explain possibility for a second. You may know what this word means, like what possibility is. And even myself back in 2022, I understood what it meant on a conceptual level, but I didn't really understand what it meant when it came to like an energetic and manifesting level. So in 2022, I went through this program, very intensive program that I highly recommend. It's called Ascension Leadership Academy. And I started hearing this phrase used by some of the coaches that said that they kept saying, living in possibility, living in possibility. And now I use it often when I speak to people. So let me break it down what exactly this phrase means, living in possibility. What living in possibility means exactly is being open to things working out for the highest good for all. And it also means living in an and state, aka not living in an either or frame state of mind. So basically living in a more expansion type of state and versus a either or state. So basically keeping yourself open to what could potentially be possible and not limiting yourself. Living in possibility also means asking yourself the question, what can be possible when I trust? What can be possible when I trust myself? What can be possible when I trust in the universal unfoldment? So trusting in the universe, trusting in the unfoldment process. So I shared my last year, in my last episode, my money healing journey, that I had the original intention of healing my mindset more around money. So I'm using this as an example around expansion. However, there was something much deeper there for me to learn by leaning into possibility. What I didn't realize is that I was able to see not only that I was going deeper than just my money wounding, like it was way deeper than just my relationship with money. It ended up being so much deeper, getting to the root of my value and my worth and my self-love, that in fact, that in learning in this process, in learning more about myself and unpacking all these layers, that I realized this was something that I wanted to share with people and create a coaching program. I trusted the process. Like I said, my intention when I went into it was to just heal my relationship with money, not realizing that a lot deeper layers were happening. And so I trusted the process and leaned into possibility. And quite honestly, had I known that I would be teaching about this and sharing these parts of my journey, I quite possibly wouldn't have gone as deep as I did due to fear. So that's an example. Leaning into possibilities, literally expanding yourself to what is possible. So let me step back a little bit and talk about this like possibility and the and state. As humans, we have this like either or perception, like this black and white perception, the hot and cold perception, the happy or sad, right? We learn the opposite, the drastic differences, the yin and the yang. We are taught from an early age there are usually just two options available for us. When I have had big decisions in the past, I was taught to use my logical brain and make a list of pros and cons. I don't know about you, but I've done that in the past. And from there, I would draw out my decision. And believe me, I'm not knocking the pros and cons list. I'm not like by any means of that. There's a right time and place for that. But what I'm trying to get to is that instead of looking at things as black and white and an either or, we're looking at things as an and perspective. So instead of tuning on the outside of ourselves for an answer, tuning into ourselves, our heart and our breath and our intuition to guide us as the guiding force, so we can turn the logic into possibly a lot different options than just two things or maybe even three things. But did you know, this is what's really interesting about this and possibility, is that did you know that the higher powers that be, the energies of the universe and all the things, God, if you want to call it that, has infinite amounts of outcomes. Basically, anything could go in any way. One thing that's coming up for me that I want to share is if you've ever watched that movie Back to the Future, you will see that Marty was living in one timeline, and what possibly could, depending on how he acted, could take him onto a completely different timeline. So that's what I'm trying to say is the universe, universal sources, God, has infinite amounts of outcomes. So basically, as humans, we're basically stuck looking into this microscope, very like micromanaging and looking very closely, only to see that maybe we only have 2 to 3 potential outcomes, when in reality, if we way zoom out from this microscope that we're so focused in on, when we zoom out, we can potentially see that there are over 1 million ways, literally infinite ways, something can unfold. And that's the beauty of the unknown and also the beauty of possibility. So let me tie this into manifesting. How this relates to manifesting, because you know I'm going to bring manifesting into the picture because I absolutely love this, is that when it comes to things that we desire, when it comes to things we desire to create, when it comes to things we desire to create into our reality, it doesn't ever really quite look like the way that we envision most of the time. We visualize something in a certain way and we think it's going to come this certain way, but oftentimes it comes in the perfect way that we need it to come in. Let me give you another example. I'm taking from my own personal experience here. This has to do with manifesting a car that I just manifested just recently. I had the desire to own a car for some time now. I live by the beach. I've told you many times in the podcast that I live by the beach. I work from home and I live in a community that literally has everything that I need. Grocery stores, boutiques, like the beach, like just everything that I need. So there's not really the need to have a car. But then I realized about 2 years into living where I've been living that in fact, a car was something that I kind of wanted because I was getting a little over of taking like Lyfts and Ubers or renting cars, and I just wanted something for my own to be able to jump into and get outside of the beach community. Instead of just launching myself into car shopping right away, I decided, because I'm a manifestation coach and abundance coach, that I wanted to get really clear on what it is that I wanted to manifest. So I knew that I wanted to create in my reality a car that was safe, reliable for road trips, and basically about that would get me from point A to point B. I didn't really get bothered too much about the color, the make and model. And another thing that I knew I wanted is that I wanted to have it to be a private sell, meaning I didn't want to go to a dealership and have like a payment plan and all that stuff. So after I got really clear about what I desired in a car, and again, I was going by more of the essence of experience that I would be experiencing in having the car, like freedom and like windows rolled down and, safe and comfortable and reliable. I added it to my vision board, and without really thinking about it, and I think it's because there were so many types of this car, or there are so many types of this car on the road, and especially in my community, I decided to add a blue Subaru to my vision board because, number one, I kept seeing it in my community, and also my ex had a blue Subaru, and I just got really accustomed to driving it around before we split, and so I already knew the essence and experience of driving a Subaru was like really safe and comfortable. So I don't know any you Subaru owners out there feel the same way about your Subaru, but it just I think it's just because it was in my subconscious already that it just made sense. I put on this blue Subaru on my vision board. So after I added it to my wallpaper vision board that I have on my phone, I scripted a couple times about having a safe, reliable vehicle. I didn't really do that much in the way of looking for a car, to be honest with you. And what did occur was that I had this intuitive download to contact one of my friends to see if his mechanic friend had any cars, because he usually would fix up cars and sell them. And so I had this intuitive hit, and so I texted this person, they texted their mechanic, and literally within several days, I was on my way to test drive a Subaru that he had fixed up. I fell in love with it the very moment that I got in it, and I was sold on the price because it was super reasonable. I was literally blown away with this manifestation, right? I was blown away from this manifestation because not only was it exactly what I had pictured, but also it was even better outcome, meaning that it was like a really good deal. It was a private sell, and this literally happened to me within the last 30 days, and I've not even had this car in my possession yet for the last 30 days. It was incredible what occurred when I trusted the process, trusted the unfoldment, let go of control, and leaned into possibility, right? I could have been that person, and not saying this is a wrong thing, because I was going by my intuition, again, going back to what I was saying about leaning into ourselves, leaning into our intuition, leaning into the possibility within us, is that I didn't have the intuitive hits to go on Craigslist and go on like CarMax and keep continuing continuing to search, my intuitive hits came to reach out to people and to see if anybody knew of somebody that owned, a car and was selling. And believe me, I sent out quite a few messages, but I wasn't putting forth the energy and effort that was like, it felt like it was like in a scarcity mindset or in a place where I felt like I was lacking. It was more like, okay, when I have an intuitive hit, let me message somebody and find out and see how this process ended up coming to be when I let go of control and leaned into possibility. And that is what I'm saying. When we lean into possibility, it does take a little practice. It may feel uncomfortable for you, for some of the people out there. And believe me, I have been one of those people, and I'm still one of those people when it comes to letting go and trusting the process. Those phrases, I have to say, are really overused, but yet always such a great place to come to. And I know these are things that we say to each other all the time. Just let it go. And in theory, it sounds easy, right? You may be saying like verbally, like, yes, I'm letting it go. However, energetically and emotionally, you may be harboring some stagnant, gummed up energy that's blocking you, believe it or not. That happens a lot of times. Like, for example, think of the time when maybe you verbally said that you forgive somebody, and then in reality, like, you really don't. I know exactly how that feels. Because I was that person that would forgive somebody. I'm thinking about somebody in particular where I would forgive them about something that they did in the past, yet I still held on energetically to like some animosity towards that person because I wasn't allowed to express myself fully in that relationship. So that is an example of like not letting fully go. Energetically, you're still harboring emotions and feelings, which in essence can be blocking you from not only receiving the manifestation, but blocking just your energy sources and all the things. So my question is to you, we're going back full circle again here. So my question is to you, my dear listener, is now it's December. Like I said, it's kind of this overlap month. What in your life right now can you expand when it comes to possibility? What in your life can you expand the possibility in? What can you lean more heavily into possibility? Let's think about all the things that I mentioned about in December when it comes to the holidays and all the things you may be experiencing, end of the year, all that stuff. Perhaps it's leaning into possibility that you may actually get along and be in peace with that family member this holiday season. Maybe you're already planning your 2024 travels and can't decide where to go. Maybe it's feeling really stretched financially right now because there are just a lot of expenses before the end of the year, the holidays, etc. Whatever it may be, really brainstorm how can you lean more into an expansion version of possibility for yourself, or even a more expanded version of yourself. And also, I want to add that any support that you need this holiday season, as your abundance coach, I can definitely be here to support you. You can book a somatic coaching session with me, a breathwork session with me to help you regulate your nervous system, just feel more regulated and expansive during these last few weeks of the year, and then also during the holiday season. Just think of the air in your lungs. Remember that balloon analogy that I said earlier? Just think of the air in your lungs as your deep breathing, as you're expanding like your lungs and expanding your breath, and hopefully that'll help as well. Breathwork has always been such a savings grace for me. So if you are having a little bit higher anxiety levels during this holiday season, please reach out for support. I'm here for you. You can either email me info@saritawellness.com or feel free to DM me on Instagram @saritawellness. If one of your desired outcomes is to have a better relationship with your abundance, let's say this holiday season, you're kind of stressed out around anything financial stuff. If one of your desired outcomes for 2024 is to have a more abundant life, to have more ease when it comes to your money, to have more ease when it comes to your manifestations, then be sure to sign up for my very first group coaching program that I have launching in January, on January 2nd. That's only open to 8 people, and it'll help you demystify your money wounds. That's the name of the course. demystify your money wounds, help you heal the scarcity wounds so you can call in that abundance with ease. Go ahead and sign up at saritawellness.com/healing because there are only 8 spots available for you for healing your money relationship. So love, that is everything that I have for today around expansion and possibility. If you love this episode, make sure to leave me a review. And also, if you feel compelled, I would love for you to share this episode in your stories and make sure to tag me at Sarita Wellness and or send to someone you know that may need just a little extra support around expanding what is possible in their life. So I will see you in the next episode, my final episode of 2023, which will wrap up 1 year of Back to Here with Sarita. I'm so excited that it's been such a wonderful year when it comes to this podcast. And until then, keep being the amazing you that you are. See you next time.
Hey love, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.